Welcome once again to that handicapping show. I'm Claire Novak, joined by Frank Angst. The show is sponsored by RacingToday.com. And today we are going to take a look at the Gotham Stakes, mile and a 16th, $500,000 on the inner track at Aqueduct for 3-year-olds. Of course, this being a stepping stone to the Wood Memorial. And trainer Gary Contessa, trainer of Uncle Sigh, has billed this as Rocky II, the rematch between Uncle Sigh and Samraat, who faced off the last time in the Wither Stakes, with Samraat coming out the winner and undefeated in that event. However, there's an interloper in the scene. Well, actually the field's definitely stronger than the last race that these guys ran in. But Frank, you and I settled on the same horse in here, and that's the horse coming in from Maryland for Mike Trombetta, Extra Sexy Hipster. Tell me what you think about him.
Yeah, the Withers most assuredly was one of the more exciting races that anyone will ever see. Those two hooked up and dueled throughout, with Samraat just holding on. But one thing about that race is there were only 6 horses in the field today. For this race, we'll have an expected 11 horses. That in itself can influence the pace, and there looks to be quite a few early runners in here. In Trouble's making his seasonal debut, and he stretches out to 2 turns and already had shown pressing speed in the 1-turn races, so you would suspect he would be another speed influence. There's a couple others in here. There's a couple of closing-looking horses that add blinkers, which usually suggests that they'll even be a little closer to the pace. Extra Sexy Hipster is the horse I landed on, and he's been an early presser type, but in the last race, I really felt like he rated. It was the 1-turn mile at Laurel, and that's kind of the running style that you need to do well on those 1-turn mile races. And I'm not expecting him to come from the clouds, but I do think he can rate off the early pace and then make his move in the far turn. Yeah,
in the Miracle Wood, which he won, he was 3rd. The thing I like about him is he seems to have good early speed from the gate. He can get out there, get his position, but he doesn't mind letting a couple of others go in front of him. He rated well on the rail there and came around one horse, made a good bid. Ran a little bit greenly in the stretch, but then kind of settled down to business and drew off much the best in that race.
He really seems like he's been right on schedule, too. He gets the win in the 2nd start. Perhaps doesn't like the mud in his 3rd start, his first stakes try, but then comes right back at Aqueduct and scores a very impressive win. And then he enters this race off of a 2nd win in the Miracle Wood.
Mike Trombetta, of course, had Sweet Northern Saint in 2006 on the Kentucky Derby Trail. Another horse in here that I was slightly disappointed in last time out would be Harpoon, the Sam Davis Stakes horse who ran 2nd to stablemate. How do you say his name? Vincermos? I think that's how you say it. Anyway, Harpoon was my pick in the Sam Davis and came with a good closing run, but just once he got to Vincermos, you would have thought he could go by, and Vincermos did fight back on the inside. I just wasn't super impressed by the effort.
I think Harpoon lost track of the horse. I think it was one of those situations where his rival was too far away from him and he didn't realize, but that's why I saw it. Harpoon is a horse I like. I don't like the post here. Granted, he'll probably come from off the pace, so he should have a chance to get over, but even so, that turn comes up quick, and he might get caught wide here, but I do have him as my 2nd pick, so I think he's definitely capable here of running a nice race.
And you mentioned keeping Uncle Sigh in the mix. Is that something?
I think I have Uncle Sigh 4th. I'm going to stick with Samraat 3rd. He's a very impressive horse on the lead, and people, everybody likes to have that exciting horse come from behind, but there's something to be said for going right to the lead and saying, come get me.
And one thing about what trainer Rick Violet has done with this horse, he's taken him back to Palm Meadows to train and then brought him back before each of his previous races. So the horse has actually been training in Florida and then coming back to New York to run, not only before the Withers, but also before this race.
And we talked about Extra Sexy Hipster being on schedule. Samraat is undefeated. You can't be any better than that.
That's right. Well, and one more thing. Extra Sexy Hipster in his previous start, not the past one, but in the Don Rickles, actually ran a 101 on our speed figures here, which is the best figure that any horse in this field has done. So just something to keep in mind looking at a couple of these horses going into Gotham, hoping to pick up points on the road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Young Brands. Thanks as always to Briss for the PPs. Thanks to our sponsor, RacingToday.com. For Frank, I'm Claire. Thanks for watching the Handicapping Show.